This video is brought to you by Global Men's Wellness, your 24/7 AI health expert. No copays, waiting rooms, or awkward conversations. Just real answers whenever you need them. Visit globalmenswellness.com to try it free and get your own on-demand concierge-level wellness expert today.
Welcome back to the 21st Century Man podcast. Today we're going to be diving deep into Chapter 68, Living with Vitality, from the book The 21st Century Man.
It's a really fascinating chapter. It really gets to the heart of what it means to be, well, truly alive and engaged with life, not just going through the motions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right from the start, Dr. Bonfiglio kind of throws down this idea that true mental health, it's so much more than just, not having any symptoms or anything. It's about actively making choices, operating at your peak, and really infusing your life with passion and purpose. And that's what we really want to unpack today, right? How can we cultivate that kind of vital existence?
That's the goal. And to get there, we're going to explore some pretty big concepts. We've got this idea of deferred living, which I think a lot of people can relate to. We'll talk about the importance of inner awareness, that connection to your inner world, and why that's so crucial. And then, of course, the ever-present need for balance, which is always a challenge, right?
Always a challenge. And, I think what really struck me about this chapter was how Dr. Bonfiglio actually weaves in his own personal experiences, particularly the profound impact of his father's life and illness. It makes these concepts feel so much more real and tangible, not just theoretical.
Right. It grounds the ideas in a lived experience. And we'll be exploring how those events really shaped his understanding of vitality and then ultimately his call to action for all of us to really examine our own lives.
Exactly. So as we go through this deep dive today, I really encourage you, the listener, to kind of reflect on your own life as well. Maybe identify some areas where you'd like to see some more energy, some more engagement, and hopefully walk away with some real takeaways, some tools that you can use to start living with more meaning and zest,
Let's do it.
All right. So let's jump right in, shall we?
Yeah.
We'll start with this concept of deferred living that Dr. Bonfiglio introduces. He tells the story of his father, Bob the electrician. And I got to say, this story really resonated with me. Just a classic example of this phenomenon.
It's something we see so often, right? This really dedicated, hardworking individual, someone who defines themselves by their labor. And I think there's this huge societal pressure, right, to be the responsible one, to put your nose to the grindstone. And sometimes we do that at the expense of our own happiness, our own fulfillment in the present moment.
He hit the nail on the head there. And Dr. Bonfiglio describes Bob as someone who, he was diligent in his work, but he wasn't actually experiencing joy. He relied on alcohol. Even though he got satisfaction from his job, it kind of turned into this automatic workaholism, almost like a way to avoid, deeper engagement with ourself, with his family.
Yeah.
And he always had this anticipation of retirement, like then life would finally begin.
Right, the classic I'll be happy when mentality. And it's interesting because he did have a moment around age 48 where he made a conscious decision to stop drinking, started to, develop some self-awareness, even adopted these positive affirmations. You have to have gratitude in your attitude. You can curse the darkness or light a candle. I mean, that suggests a real desire for change, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And actually, his relationship with Robert, with Dr. Bonfiglio, actually deepened during this period. But even with that shift, that underlying habit of putting life on hold, it persisted. Those dreams, the boat, the summer house, they were all contingent on reaching that magic number. 65.
It's like the change was there on the surface, but that deeper belief that true living was something for the future, that remained.
It did. And then comes this really stark and honestly tragic reality. At 52, Bob is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Just a really powerful reminder, right, that life, it doesn't always stick to our plan.
Oh, absolutely. Life throws curveballs. And it really makes you confront that question of, are you living fully now or are you waiting for someday?
Exactly. So for you listening right now, do you see any echoes of Bob's story in your own life? Are there things you're putting off, dreams you're delaying, telling yourself someday? I mean, what exactly are you waiting for? And what might be the cost of that delay?
It's a heavy question, but a necessary one.
It is. And Dr. Bonfiglio then shifts the focus to how his father's illness actually became this unexpected catalyst for his own awakening. In his 20s, witnessing his dad's struggle, he starts to take a hard look at his own life.
Right, a wake-up call.
Yeah, and what he realizes is that he's been living a life driven by, I don't know, external validation, societal expectations. He wasn't really connected to his own desires, to what he calls his inner awareness.
It's like he was living someone else's script, not his own.
Exactly. And he talks about this transformative experience of actually turning his attention inward, actively listening to his thoughts, his feelings, his emotions, his values, not just being aware of them, but really delving into them.
That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
That deeper level of self-awareness.
And that awareness, that inner listening, it empowered him to start taking ownership of his life, to align his actions with who he truly is, what truly resonates with him.
It's about moving from being reactive to being intentional.
Exactly. And he says, at 26, he embarked on this ongoing journey of striving to live in alignment with his true self. And I think that word striving is really important, right? It's not a destination, it's a continuous process.
It's a lifelong practice.
Yeah. So for you, the listener, think about this. Are you mostly driven by those external pressures, those shoulds, those ought-tos that society throws at us? Or are you listening to your own internal compass? And how can you, cultivate a deeper connection with that inner voice?
That's the real work.
It is. And, building on this idea of inner awareness, Dr. Bonfiglio brings in this really refreshing perspective from Abraham Maslow. Remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Well, he observed that self-actualized individuals, they often exhibit these childlike qualities, especially curiosity and a sense of wonder.
It's a beautiful connection. Think back to your own childhood, to those moments where you experienced pure, unadulterated curiosity, that awe at the world around you. What was the essence of that experience? There's certain magic to those moments.
That's it, the magic. And Dr. Bonfiglio challenges us to pinpoint the source of that magic. Was it something internal, your state of mind, your openness? Was it the effort you were investing in something? Or were there specific external circumstances? The question is, how do we bring that back into our adult lives where, cynicism and routine can sometimes take over?
It's about reconnecting with that innate sense of wonder and letting it guide us towards experiences that spark that sense of vitality.
And that leads us to this practice of taking inventory for vitality, which is basically a personal check-in.
Okay.
A moment to really assess, how's life actually going beyond just the day-to-day stuff.
And he offers some really powerful questions to guide this reflection. Like, does it even feel possible for you to live with vitality right now? What are the obstacles, both internal and external? Are you just on autopilot, reacting to circumstances? Or are you truly engaging with the world as a fully present human being?
It's a big one, right?
Yeah.
And he also suggests recalling those times in your life when you were feeling passionate, engaged, maybe even journaling about what made those times possible.
It's about identifying the ingredients that fuel that feeling of aliveness within you.
Totally. And then he asks, are your choices actually aligned with your core values? Are you making space for things that energize you, that bring you joy? And of course, the balance question. Are you overdoing it in some areas and neglecting others that are just as important?
Balance is such a constant dance.
It really is. And, I found his question about destiny and limitations particularly insightful. It's about acknowledging the realities of your life, your talents, your capabilities, your background, and then consciously exercising your freedom of choice within those parameters.
It's not about denying reality, but about finding agency within it.
Exactly. And then the core question. Are you living a life that has heart and meaning for you? What are your passions? Who matters most? Are you willing to make those sometimes tough choices to align your life with those answers?
It's a deep dive into the self, but the potential payoff is huge.
Yeah, Dr. Bonfiglio is clear that this process can be challenging. It takes honesty and courage to really look at yourself. But the reward, he emphasizes, is the rediscovery, or maybe even the first discovery, of living with genuine vitality.
And it's important to remember that it's not always a straight line. Dr. Bonfiglio is very honest about his own struggles. He talks about how even after making progress towards living with more vitality, he had what he calls a relapse. He fell back into that pattern of workaholism, mirroring his father in a way.
Wow, it's so relatable, right? I mean, how many of us have been there?
He describes the toll it took physically and relationally. He talks about diverticulitis, degenerative discs, adrenal fatigue, strained relationships. He realized he'd become a human doer, focused on achievement instead of a human being.
It's a powerful distinction.
And for him, the turning point was attending Berkeley's executive coaching program. He went for professional development, but it sparked this huge personal transformation. It brought him back to that self-examination we've been talking about.
And it led him to re-engage with those practices that support inner awareness. Therapy, meditation, healthy eating, setting boundaries around work, exercise. Just really emphasizing that this is an ongoing journey, right?
It's cyclical. We find balance, then we lose it, and we find it again. It's a constant process.
Yeah. So, listener, has there been a time in your life where you felt that way, where work or other pressures kind of took over and eroded your well-being? What steps can you take, maybe even today, to start reclaiming that equilibrium?
Small steps can lead to big changes.
They can. Now, Dr. Bonfiglio goes on to outline some key concepts that can really guide us on this journey. He starts with awe, and he clarifies that awe isn't just a fleeting positive emotion. It's this broader experience that includes thrill, wonder, even a bit of healthy anxiety that comes with really embracing life.
He breaks down the components of awe, suggesting that it requires cultivating curiosity, openness to new experiences, genuine appreciation, actively noticing the details around us, and fostering a spirit of discovery. But he balances this with the need for safety, structure, and support.
It's about that interplay between the familiar and the unknown.
Exactly.
And he gives this great example of being on vacation, right? Really immersing yourself in the sensory details, the sights, the sounds, the smells, being fully present instead of just observing or taking pictures for later.
It's about that deep connection with the moment.
Yeah. The next concept he introduces is being and becoming. He defines being as living authentically, in line with your values and purpose right now. And becoming is that continuous process of growth and evolution, of shaping your life as you stay engaged with the world and your own potential.
It's who you are now and who you're striving to be working together.
I like that. He uses the example of a school counselor who finds a lot of meaning in their current role. That's the being. But they also feel called to expand their impact and decide to pursue further education to become a psychologist. That's the becoming.
It's a beautiful illustration of that ongoing journey of development.
It is. Then he talks about lack of control as a real detriment to vitality. He explains how letting external factors or other people constantly dictate your choices can really erode your sense of agency. It takes away your ability to experience meaning and purpose.
It's about having that sense of autonomy, of shaping your own life.
Exactly. And then he talks about adapting. This is about actively listening to that inner awareness and being willing to make changes, even big ones, even if they're uncomfortable at first.
It takes courage, but the rewards can be huge.
He gives this powerful example of someone in a toxic work environment who finally leaves to pursue their passion for photography.
It's about aligning your outer life with your inner needs.
That's it. And of course, we have tuning into inner awareness, which has been a theme throughout this entire conversation. This is about creating space to really listen to your thoughts, your feelings, your values, your dreams.
It's about finding that quiet space where your true self can emerge.
And he suggests if you're feeling stuck, dissatisfied, take some time for introspection. Ask yourself some tough questions. Don't ignore those feelings.
Explore them, understand them, and let them guide you.
Finding balance is another big one. It's about consciously integrating all the different demands and desires in our lives. Work, relationships, leisure, personal well-being.
It's avoiding those extremes that lead to burnout and depletion.
Right. Then there's presence.
Yeah.
It's about being fully engaged in the current moment with awareness. He uses the example of really listening to your partner, not just their words, but their body language, really connecting in that moment.
It's about that deep engagement with the here and now.
Destiny is about acknowledging the limitations in our lives, the physical, psychological, cultural factors that shape what's possible for us.
We don't get to choose those things, but we can choose how we respond to them.
And that leads to freedom and destiny. Recognizing that even within those limitations, we still have choices. Dr. Bonfiglio shares his own story of realizing he couldn't play professional basketball because of his height, but then choosing a path in psychology that really aligned with his strengths and interests.
It's about making conscious, intentional choices within the framework of our lives.
And that leads to this really important point about the power of choice. Even when we feel constrained by responsibilities, by circumstances, there are still choices to be made.
Sometimes we just don't see them or we're afraid to look.
He says that Feeling stuck often comes from not recognizing the opportunities that do exist, or not being willing to explore the obstacles that are blocking us. So the question is, what choices can you make, even small ones, to feel more alive right now?
It's about taking action, not just wishing for things to be different.
To help illustrate these ideas, Dr. Bonfiglio provides this helpful visual, figure 68.1. It outlines the conditions that promote and deter vitality. So on the what interferes side, we have things like overworking, rigid thinking, ignoring your mind and body, not addressing emotional pain, poor diet, lack of exercise, overcommitting, substance abuse, stubbornness, living in the past, ruminating, delaying pleasure, living by other people's values, negative self-talk, and losing touch with the preciousness of life.
It's a sobering list, but also a helpful one. It shows us what to avoid.
And on the what promotes side, we have the positive counterparts. So cultivating awareness, setting boundaries, living with heart and meaning, aligning with your values, nurturing curiosity, taking inventory, making time for yourself, scheduling fun and reflection, exploring choices, making time for enjoyable activities, living in the present, exercise, healthy eating, balance, moderation, willingness to change, self-compassion.
It's a roadmap for a more vital life.
It really is. And finally, Dr. Bonfiglio leaves us with this powerful question. Are you willing to live for freedom and vitality, to actively pursue your hopes and dreams?
It's a call to action, an invitation to step into your full potential.
This entire chapter, and honestly the whole book, is such a valuable resource. I highly encourage you, listener, to check out The 21st Century Man and dive into these ideas even deeper.
It's full of wisdom and practical guidance for navigating modern life.
It is. Well, we hope this deep dive into Chapter 68, Living with Vitality, has given you some food for thought and some actionable steps to create a more engaged and meaningful life.
Remember the power of self-reflection, the importance of balance, and the freedom to make choices that align with your truest self.
As you go about your day, consider that final question. Are you truly living for your own freedom and vitality? What one small step can you take right now to move in that direction?
Join us next time on the 21st Century Man podcast as we delve into Chapter 69. Find yourself a partner who can be your best friend. We look forward to exploring that crucial aspect of a fulfilling life with you.
See you then.
Take control of your health anytime, anywhere. Visit globalmenswellness.com and start your free trial today. Get expert-level answers in seconds, not weeks, without the cost, the wait, or the awkward conversations. Real support on your terms. Visit globalmenswellness.com now.